You are now listening to the podcast for geeks and the stuff they love, where each week we'll talk about everything from anime to movies, games, and prop collecting with the people who create and love it. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Vince.
I'm James.
And this is your Geek Fix.
So today we're talking about McDonald's. I like this picture because it looks like he's going, oh yeah. It's the weirdest. It's a real statue of Ronald McDonald outside of a McDonald's inside of a mall, and he's got his hands together and he's kind of doing this like greedy looking. He has a weird face on him too, where he's like, "Oh yeah."
Scary.
So I've just seen the picture, and it reminds me that I have years ago, like many years ago, there was a McDonald's in the place that I live, where I used to live with my parents. And outside the McDonald's, they had a bench with a Ronald McDonald sat on it.
Oh, yeah.
And you could sit on his lap. And I have a photo of me sitting on his lap.
Really?
So
hopefully it's the one where his arms up, not where he's got his hands together. Like, finally.
Yeah, no, it wasn't too sinister.
Yeah, the reason why McDonald's, well, a couple of reasons. If you saw the Ghostbusters video that I did, I went there actually in the video, which I hadn't done for years before that. That was actually my first visit because it's the one place locally where you can get the equivalent of a Slurpee or an Icy, and it's a reasonable price. So I went there. That's actually what I just finished drinking. But at the same time, no, the thing that's interesting about McDonald's is that there was a survey done about collectors of toys and small props, collectibles in general, and what they found was that 90% of people, adults, have at least a McDonald's toy that they can identify that they've had for some time in their house, I even remember at one point in time they had VHS videos that they sold that had nothing to do with the mills, but you could purchase the videos there that were like Indiana Jones, Addams Family, stuff like that. And at another point in time, I just got done watching a show that's about the Beanie Baby thing that happened. Yeah. Because that was, the guy made billions of dollars by convincing people that they were rare, even though they weren't. And then he did a giveaway, or he did not a giveaway, but he had them sold at McDonald's, and people were like killing each other over them at McDonald's, like fights, sprawls to get a hold of these things.
One McDonald's, a delivery man arriving with a case of the teeny beanies was tackled by overzealous customers. In New York, people were paying for Happy Meals, but telling McDonald's to keep the food. They just wanted the beanie.
But it has always been a place where people that want collectibles of things, because McDonald's has done a lot of collaborations. Here I can see even some Marvel toys and things that you could get. It was a common place to go. And then also as a kid, if you had your birthday party at McDonald's used to have even a separate building that you could go to. And that's where I took this picture. This is when I was a little kid in grade school. So check out the cake. They even made a cake for you at McDonald's. You got Ron Don right there. And then happy birthday, Jeremy. Looks like it was just like a mass produced thing too. If you had a birthday party there,
looks handmade, to be honest.
Yeah, it probably was to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But it was like it was a big thing, like because your parents had to pay for it, of course. So it's not like something they could always do. But if you had a Ronald McDonald birthday party where you also got to play in the thing, and then they had those fiberglass trees and all the stuff that you would play on.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, this is my birthday party. Check out the ratio. Got 3 girls, 2 boys. That's why my face looks like this. Yeah, but at any rate, so
you were the man.
Yeah. Check that out. So here's my first question for you, though. How well do you know the characters? Like, do you guys know what this tree is?
No, because that's old school McDonald's lore.
Old school McDonald's lore. It is kind of. Yeah. Any guesses?
There was a show.
Here's a better picture.
It? Oh, wow.
Well, the show came out many years later, so that was in the 90s, actually. So this is back in the day. All you had was the commercials, and then inside the places, this tree represented the apple turnovers. This is the apple turnover tree.
We never had those here.
No, they don't have them anywhere these days. This was back in the 70s,
but back in the day
early
also,
80s.
Yeah, because I used to have my birthday parties as well at McDonald's, where they would
did
have
you?
like the hamburger seats and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the playground area still has a lot of that, but so
not many.
the question I have for you guys is there are a lot of characters that are just as big. In fact, if you go to some conferences, there's cosplayers that wear these outfits.
Yeah.
But outside of the TV show, which you mentioned, here's a shot from the TV show. Characters not like this one. So this is Sunday the dog.
Yeah.
All right.
Here's a question for you. Who played? So Sunday the dog, this one, the one in the live portion. So they'd have a live portion at the beginning and at the end, like a lot of cartoon shows, and then the rest of it was all cartoon. Sunday the dog in the cartoon was voiced by a different actor, but do you know who the actor is that's in there that never speaks, and most of the time is just laying in the background in this costume? Who that actor is?
The guy who played Mini-Me.
It is.
Yeah.
Was Vern Troyer? Isn't that his name?
Yeah, Vern Troyer.
Yeah. Died fairly recently and stuff. But yeah, he was the one. Just they hired this actor, and at that point in time, although also he wasn't a small actor. He wasn't a small time actor at that point in time. He'd already been in some stuff. They hire him, and they're like, "Yep." So if you could just lay in this costume in the background, like did nothing, never spoke, didn't do much acting.
I think I saw a Robot Chicken episode criticizing that. About
really?
I think that's why I remembered, because it was recent. But just the guy laying around doing nothing all day as a dog costume. Yeah, but it could be worse. It could be I mean, back then I think you would pick any big brand name you could get, right?
I'm sure he got paid pretty good for it. It's just sad that
looking at the SAG-AFTRA stuff that's going on, I don't think he got paid very well.
Yeah. I mean, but that's how he was dressed. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
At the same time, this is the second small person we've talked about today. But okay, so tell me, do you know the name of this character?
Major Big Mac.
You're close. So this one's Mayor McCheese.
Oh, McCheese. Oh, yeah.
Which represents the cheeseburgers, right?
Yeah.
Is he a good guy or a bad guy? This is the second question I'll ask you on each of these. Was he a good guy or a bad guy?
I think he was a good guy.
He was a good guy. Okay.
Because he also had that one.
This one is Sheriff
Officer Sheriff
Big Mac. Yeah, you had it right. Yeah. So this was Officer Big Mac. So naturally the Big Mac. Okay. Yep. So you got that one. Okay. Pretty good. Hamburglar represents just the regular burgers, by the way. So he doesn't steal cheeseburgers. He only does regular burgers.
You need to do the hamburger meme, like hamburger.
Yeah. How are these guys?
Yeah, those things. Oh, I don't know. Koozies. Or what?
Koozies. Right? They don't look like what they're supposed to be. These are the Fry guys. Later on, there would be the Fry kids, too. But they don't look like French fries. I mean, none that they sell. They look like cushy things. They look like something you'd shower with or see a cheerleader. This is what happens at the basketball game when people take enough drugs. But anyway, so these are the Fry guys. How about this one?
I had those as a kid, as a toy.
What's the? Did you? Do you know what they are? What's their name?
It's not tater tots, because that was copyrighted, right?
Yeah, no, they're not tater tots. No, they're made of chicken.
But they're not the nuggets, are they?
What are they? Yeah, chicken nuggets. Yeah.
Yeah.
So chicken nuggets. That is by the way a McDonald's name, chicken nuggets, and that is what they named them too. By the way, this is the part that disturbs me. Is right there they're naked, and then later on in all the commercials they were wearing clothes. So I don't know if it means like when a little weird that they undress them to be eaten, but right there they are. Right. They're dressed up. How about this guy? Do you know this one?
But is that McDonald's?
It's at McDonald's. It's a McDonald's character. He represents a food at McDonald's. Yeah. So the three questions
describe them to me.
Okay. So this one. This was sorry, Jay.
Parent.
Yeah, we need to be describing these also for the radio. So far, this has made no sense. So this guy is a pirate. He has a bird on his shoulder. He has a big mustache and a C on his hat.
The pirate.
Yeah. What's his name? What food does he represent? And is he a good guy or a bad guy?
Captain Ketchup.
You're actually pretty close. It's Captain Crook.
Oh.
Do you know what food he represents?
I guess the condiments.
Salt?
No.
Right. No.
He's the Crook. I didn't remember this one. To be honest with you, he represents the fish sandwich.
Wow.
I forgot they even have fish sandwiches there. I've actually had one before.
It's called a fillet of fish now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's filet of fish sandwich. That's the name of it, actually. Yeah, yeah. Yep. And is he a good guy or a bad guy, do you think? Captain
I guess
Crook.
Bad guy.
Remember? Yeah, you'd think so, right? No, he's a good guy. He would help Ronald McDonald find, so they'd get bottles that they would catch in the water, and then he'd help Ronald McDonald find the kid that put the bottle in the water.
And sue him for littering.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't judge a book by his cover or by his name.
No.
Yeah. The bird.
Yeah, do you know the bird's name? So this is a bird.
No.
She wears goggles. She's got a little outfit on. Do you know her name? She has pigtails. But she looks like a duck, but she's not supposed to be a duck, apparently. She is
I have no idea.
Her name was Birdie the Early Bird. But here's the question. What not meal, but what food does she represent?
Breakfast. I don't know.
That's the meal.
Yeah, I was gonna say dinner.
That'd be the meal. Yeah. So breakfast
McMuffin?
was the meal. But what food?
Is it Egg McMuffin?
No.
No?
So
That was later.
Coffee.
Oh, James has it. So here's the additional piece, the clue I was going to give you is that in these ads, she was always like in a hurry, and she's always like, "Oh, I got it." She was like a manic person that's on methamphetamines. She's like, "I gotta go. I gotta do something.
Wow.
I gotta," and stuff like that the whole time. Yeah, she represents the coffee. James got it.
Oh, wow.
Yep. She's the coffee for kids. Now remember, this is kids advertising. Showing the bird that's out of her mind.
That explains what mommy and daddy are doing. Yeah.
Yeah, you know this one. So this one's a big purple figure.
Grimace.
Grimace. Yep, this is Grimace.
His birthday a while back.
His birthday was this year. Mm-hmm. What food? Based on, you probably already know because this year they kind of focused on it. But what food he represented?
It was a slushy, wasn't it? Or like a smoothie?
No, you're close. So what was
Milkshake?
the thing that they turned out this year for his birthday?
Yeah, there was a milkshake kind of thing, right?
Yeah, the milkshake. So what's interesting?
With slushy,
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, at this point in time, but it's important to call it a milkshake because this is during an era, and I'll come back to this in a second. This was during an era where McDonald's stopped serving anything that was milk-based because they were trying to decrease the cost of having a freezer.
Oh.
And refrigerated items. So they decided they didn't want anything that was milk-based, so they actually went to a gelatin powder. So basically, they would pour the gelatin powder in, I think it was into water, and then they'd mix it, and it would make this thing that looked like a milkshake, but it was not. And so they had to come up with a creature for it. And initially, he's gone through a few iterations, by the way. So the first version of Grimace, again, do you think he was a good guy or a bad guy?
Grimace was bad.
That's right. He was initially a bad guy. So initially he was a monster. He had 4 arms, 2 legs in the original version.
This is biblical Grimace.
Yeah, he has 4 shakes in his hands.
Like the biblical angel meme where it's all eyes,
Yeah.
This is biblical Grimace.
That's right.
With 6 arms and feet.
He's Ganesh. He's carrying... But yeah, he's carrying multiple shakes. That's why he has so many arms. That's so he could steal more. And he was a monster. And so he's a bad guy. He looked pretty scary. Yeah, here he is. He has like big teeth. and he had braces
but
and stuff.
No, is this official?
Yeah.
Wow,
this
that's
is
scary.
actually with the original Hamburglar.
No, stop zooming in. Stop zooming.
Yeah. So at the same time, but this is the thing. This is the thing that's always bothered me. Is keep in mind. So here's this thing. They're trying to advertise this thing that's not really milk based. That's made from a gelatin powder, which nobody knew, by the way. And they had a meeting. They had to have a meeting where they all got together and they're like, we got to come up with something to represent this. And they come up with this purple blob that looks like Pepto-Bismol. And then they had to come up with a name. And the name they came up with, of all the names, they probably had a meeting that was several hours long. And in the end, the only name that they came up with was Grimace, right? Which in English, by the way, I'm pulling this straight from the dictionary. In English, the definition in the dictionary for grimace is an ugly, twisted expression of a person's face, typically expressing disgust, pain, or wry amusement. For example, she gave a grimace of pain, or I sipped the coffee and grimaced. That's what they came up with to represent their product.
It might
the
be
shake.
Their first reaction when they heard it was gelatin powder, and they made a
That's
grimace.
right. They're like, well, we got to be honest, so let's...
Yeah, it sucks, so...
Yeah.
Well, that way they avoided a lawsuit.
It's true.
I mean, it's in the name.
Well, here's the thing. So here's another one for you. What is this? So this looks like kind of like Grimace, a little hairier, and he's green, and he's wearing a vest and a leprechaun hat, and he has a stick. Who do you think he is?
It's a shillelagh, actually, the stick.
It's a shillelagh. Yep.
Yeah.
So he can beat up snakes on his way.
Irish Ivan.
Irish Ivan, you're going for that one. All right. James, any guesses?
It's a green tree-shaped kind of dude with a
moldy grimace.
Moldy grimace. His name is Uncle O'Grimace. He represents the Shamrock Shake. I don't know if they do this internationally. I don't know what people in Ireland would think of.
I was close.
Yeah, you're pretty close. What they would think of this figure, but here in the U.S. In March, we have the Shamrock Shake that they'll release, which is a green shake. I think it's mint flavored.
I shoot for St. Patrick's Day.
Yep, it's for St. Patrick's Day. Yep. This is their way of getting money on that. But some culturation there. But at the same time, those are some of the characters. These are the guys actually that started McDonald's originally. Have you guys seen the it is actually, their names are Dick and Mac. McDonald are their names.
So Dick
that's where a lot of their products names came from. No. Well, here is a funny thing though. McDonald's didn't originally serve hamburgers. Do you know what they served?
Sausages.
Hot dogs, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So I don't know if they had the dick that you can get, but
would you like to have a dick in your mouth?
Yeah. But at the same time,
or a Big Mac. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean that is originally they were a hot dog stand. But when they decided to become a hamburger stand, and these guys were awesome. They were super nice. Their whole purpose was they wanted to make a family meal that was affordable, but was slightly above what, and this is at a time too when a lot of families didn't have a lot of money. And so they said, look, we can lower the price and make a really quality product, and we're going to serve it fast because it's only going to be during lunchtime and stuff. And so they came up with a way to make a fast method, and they practiced it and over-practiced it on how people would literally even cross, the different workers would cross each other to get things done, and how they would, make the hamburgers, and they'd have them basically all going at once. And the idea of making something that was made fresh, but at the same time, when the person walked up to the window and ordered it, they'd get it just like that. and including drinks and fries. And so they come up with this great method, and they were brilliant guys, and they were all about the family, product. Yeah.
But if you also look at the prices back then, it was like for a couple of cents you would get stuff, right?
Yeah. It was. I think it was 50-cent hamburger is what the whole idea was. Yeah. And
nowadays
so,
it's like $5.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, well, and McDonald's has tried to cut costs, but at the cost of a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of rumors out there about things that they've done in the past. I remember when I was a little kid being told that they grind worms into the hamburger so they had more meat to put on the thing, but it was whatever.
Yeah. It's gonna be soy now. Yeah.
Yeah. At this time too, they were all about making a milk product. They wanted to make shakes. And this is where the story starts to go awry. Have you guys heard of the movie The Founder?
Heard of it, but I haven't seen it. No.
So this is how Batman, and I'll say this too. This is what I should have said at the beginning. That this episode we're going to be talking about the correlation between McDonald's, Batman, and the Mafia. This is where Batman comes in. Is that Michael Keaton plays the role of the individual, by the way, the main role of an individual that sold shake machines. Shake machines that could turn out, I think they could do 4 shakes at once. And so these guys were interested in it. And, he was not door-to-door sales, but he was a traveling salesman. And so he goes to these guys and sells them the shake maker. And they're like, yeah, we'll take a couple of them because and here's the original versions, by the way, of what McDonald's looked like at that time.
They have a replica near where I live. They replicated.
Do they really?
The
original ones? That's very cool. So I mean, like you went up to the window and inside, they had everything going on. So along comes this guy, like I said, if you want to check out the movie's great, about this whole situation, The Founder with Michael Keaton. So the whole thing is, and this is the real guy versus Michael Keaton. They almost look like each other, in this. So the guy's name, was, Ray Kroc. That's right. That was his name. Talk about exact names for all the products. So it was, a crock is a perfect term for it. He comes along and he sees how they do things and he's really interested. And he's like, hey, do you mind if I just kind of watch and learn about your stuff? Because he's interested in business and he's interested in making things better. And at this point in time too, by the way, the guys that ran McDonald's, I think they had one and we're looking at a second location, but they weren't going to do anything beyond that. They wanted to keep it simple. They wanted to keep it a family-owned business. They wanted to, again, they're servicing, their focuses on quality, not on making millions. But, along comes, Ray, and he's like, hey, I mean, honestly, what you have here, though, is something that we could actually build upon. I mean, and that there's a way to be able to have it where you guys wouldn't have to worry about running other restaurants. And the one thing that Ray Kroc did come up with that was new at that point in time was the idea of having a franchise.
All right.
And so, who is it that makes the joke about going to McDonald's and being sold a franchise in Pensacola because he went up to the window and they said, would you like a franchise in Pensacola? Bay. So he goes up.
French fries and Pepsi Cola.
Yeah, Pensacola. So he goes to the guys and he says, hey, what you can do is you can literally, you can sell for other people and make money from other restaurants that are run by other people. And then they get a portion and you get a portion. And they were still like, I don't know about this. They didn't want the quality. And their whole thing the whole time is they're like, hey, we're willing to let you do this if, you can guarantee that they have to do a certain way and that they're going to keep a good name to it and they're going to do things right. And that was their original promise to them. And then basically this guy over time has a hostile takeover. He takes away the business from these guys. And to the point that they have nothing. And really, I mean, he screws over a lot of people that he deals with. And then this is the guy that comes along and says, well, we need to cut corners to make it cheaper because everyone was complaining like the refrigerator situation. All these owners of the franchises said, hey, it's really expensive to run these for refrigerators and we can't balance for it. And so he says, well, let's go refrigerator free. And so they come up with this product there is this whole powder that literally you pour it in and it turns into this cold shake. Or I don't know, I remember if it was cold, but I do remember
milk powder
having that version. It tasted funny. It always had this weird thing to it. And I do remember having that version for a short period of time. But yeah, he's the one that came up with that. He cuts more and more corners. He made more and more changes. And eventually, he also cheats on his wife and stuff. There's a bunch of things that happened before he died.
But is
when his family took it over,
or is it actually?
So it was pretty accurate. The movie, if you see it, apparently the family, actually his own family who don't like him, said, yeah, this is pretty accurate. And the guys that were the original owners, their families also verified that it was pretty accurate. And but when his family took it over, when he died, his family takes it over, and they actually did a lot to try and turn it back into something that was something better. And they try to make good with a lot of people before that. But there's other weird things that have happened with McDonald's. This is McMillions.
Oh,
you guys, you guys heard about this? Have you? I was alive throughout the whole McMillions thing and believed it. And I remember people holding on to the tickets. The whole idea behind it was that there was these tickets that you would tear off of your fries and drinks, at least. I remember the fries and drinks had them. And it was
they still do that here.
Do they still? Okay.
Still.
So yeah, you'd peel it off, and if you've seen that, do they have the same thing on the other side? Then is it like tied to Monopoly or stuff like that, or what is it exactly?
Yeah.
Where you are, James? It's still that.
They're doing it this summer. They do it typically every summer.
Well, that's crazy. So in 12 years, though, in the 12 first years at least of running McMillions, which the whole thing was you could win millions of dollars. There was like one major big winner, or there was a few big ones, and then there would be a lot of prizes that you could win. During that time of 12 years, guess how many winners there were? Authentic winners.
None.
That's correct. No authentic winners in 12 years. This is what the tag looks like, by the way. Yeah. So this one says luxury tax. It had a ring, Park Place. So $1 million cash, right? Is what you could supposedly win. What the whole story was, and you can watch this on HBO. HBO has a great, a really cool, actually, documentary about it, because what happened was you had the Mafia got involved, the Mafia guy. The guy whose name was, what was it? Jerry Jacobson,
Grimace.
Right. So yeah, it was Grimace. It was actually Uncle, whatever his name was.
Uncle Grimace.
Yeah, Grimace.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jerry Jacobson. He had a printing company, or at least had access to one, to print these tickets. And then what he did is he decided that he would happen to have these tickets that would come, people that would claim them. And he would contact people and literally offer to them. I mean, he'd say, look, how would you like to make some money? And he'd give them these tickets. And the whole thing, it's really sad because some of these people thought authentically that they were doing something that was okay. They didn't know that I've got these little tiny pictures, but they didn't know that what they were doing was illegal. Or
this guy did.
This guy did. Well,
I don't know.
This guy literally actually. So they had to give a portion of it. They knew that they would only get a portion, right? The rest of it would go back to this Mafia guy. But at the same time, they'd get all this money, and they'd be, they'd roll with it, and they thought it was literally an authentic promotion. Some of them. There was a couple. There's some really weird characters throughout this thing. My favorite character in this whole. And the whole thing that happened is this agent by the name of Doug Matthews. He was one of the investigators. And when he gets involved, because initially they didn't know that McDonald's wasn't in on this. They weren't the ones that were initially doing this. McDonald's didn't know anything about it. But to make sure, they actually try and do a sting operation on McDonald's. And this guy decides to wear, he was still kind of new at the time, but he decides to wear a gold suit to one of their first meetings with McDonald's. Just weird stuff. They did all these
Power
weird
suit.
straight. So check out this. This is an action figure. This just just a thing that I think was made for Instagram, but at the same time, it's pretty funny. I'd buy it if they were really selling this. The McMillions action figure, where he's wearing the gold suit. And so he shows up in this gold suit. They eventually have to involve McDonald's in it. And McDonald's is like, well, we'll stop doing if that's what's happening. We'll just stop the contest. We don't want this going on. Or we should really tell people. And so, of course, the federal government's like, no, we want to catch these guys. We need to figure out who's running this, because this went on for quite some time. And we are talking millions and millions of dollars. And so
it wasn't McDonald's like they weren't supposed to win.
That's but they weren't. Well, they were supposed to. It was supposed to be random people. I mean, there was supposed to be real tickets, but of course this was shifty, where the people that were printing the tickets were getting them and the money. But on the flip side, so what they do is they actually end up using McDonald's people, including the best part is they have to use Ronald McDonald, an actor, the actor, one of the actors from TV, because he was the one that hands over the tickets. And the guy was so scared because he knew what was actually going on, but he has to act like he normally would and hand out the ticket or hand out the check. I mean, and stuff. The guy like pees himself almost.
Jesus,
he's singing. He's really suffering with anxiety during the whole thing. They have another lady that's from McDonald's that has to record stuff. They have to send her in to do different pieces. As they catch each person too, they have to involve them then, because they're trying to get, to the person at the top. And it's the most bizarre. This is one of those 4-episode kind of things to get through. But at the same time, it's just
spoilers.
It's so crazy. Yeah. I didn't give away the ending, but at the same time, I mean, it's pretty wild what they went through to figure all this stuff out and the things that were happening. McDonald's, it has an interesting history, and even for within the geeky groups, and they're still turning out some things. I purchased some stuff not too long ago. They had the Ghostbusters stuff. They've had some Ghostbuster. They had the straws.
So you still get plastic toys though?
Yeah.
We get paper toys only. We get only paper. Yeah. So I went with my son. To McDonald's the first time. I thought, we'll get him a Happy Meal. Yeah. So it was like Despicable Me 2000 whatever. Yeah. And you got like a paper craft thing of a minion that you had to build yourself, and that was the
maybe that was just that one time though. I don't know. Yeah, they still do. Like they have plastic Barbies right now that you can get in your your Happy Meal.
They don't really have it here because you can choose a book. Or you can choose a toy and
here's Germany, a napkin. That's your toy. Congratulations, kid.
But the books are like about like famous people. Like it's like one book about Einstein, Bruce Lee, and Madame Curie.
Wow.
And all that kind of stuff. But
maybe you should collect these, Vince. They're probably worth some money elsewhere.
Oh yeah, sure. But
I haven't seen those. Those are not around here at all.
Yeah. Oh, no. But in Germany, they actually have Pokemon trading cards that I was in Germany recently in Cologne. And I tried to get them, and I just went to a drive-in and said, I only want to buy the Pokemon cards. And they're like, okay, how many do you want? I'm like, all of them.
All of them. They do sell them separate. They sell the toys separate. So you can actually buy them. Well, I bought the toys separate before. They had Jackie, back when I was into Jackie Chan. I can't remember if that was Burger King or McDonald's, but I bought all the Jackie Chan toys, cool. Stuff like that. But I mean, it's a part of our youth, but it's also a part of most of the people who are buying this stuff are adults. But
so what we did, whenever there was a Pixar movie or Disney movie coming out, we would for my birthday party, and it sounds really entitled because I didn't register it at the time. My parents, we would go to the cinema, watch the new Disney movie with the people that I invited, with the kids that I invited for my birthday party. Yeah. And afterwards, we would go to McDonald's to have dinner with a Happy Meal with a toy from the movie. So we did it with Pocahontas, The Lion King, Toy Story, all that stuff. And I was always super hyped about those movies because I would, like Toy Story and all that. Every new Disney movie was a big hype moment for me, and I'm one who easily gets hyped. But that was really cool. And but one other thing I really appreciate about McDonald's, and there are of course two sides of the coin, as you told. But they did very extensive research in cross-cultural communication. And this is totally off the track here. But they had actually done research for icons that they put on the hamburgers and on the fries to depict certain things. That for some cultures would mean something totally different. And that's a pretty fun research to look at. Because if you would like have a symbol for gluten, would you put in some grains, or would you put in a molecule, or would you put in a G, or something like that? And they did a very extensive research on that, going cross-cultural. Like in the Middle East, this would be offensive. This would be offensive in the Netherlands.
Well, you got to be careful of that.
And they did very extensive research. And if you ever find your way to the PDF that they made for that, it's really interesting to look into how different things can mean different things for culture. Because one small anecdote, if I may, is I used to go to the International Business and Languages School, and we talked about culture. And one of the things, and product marketing, and one of the things was that in South Africa, and this is hearsay, so I don't quote me on it, but they were used to having cans with the picture of whatever is in there on the can. So if you would have like chicken, it would have a chicken on it. If it would be pork, it would have pork on it. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
So one company was decided to make baby food in the same style as that,
with a baby in it.
With a baby on it.
No!
And people were outraged, saying like, "Why are you
sales went through the roof."
but stuff like that, you know, that was, you know, intercultural stuff. One thing about the Mafia I heard was a company here in the Netherlands, a pretty well-known beer company, Heineken, actually wanted to work.
The door's opening.
Sorry,
got to close your door. You got to put your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
No, I've actually got to leave you guys. So
no worries. We'll see you later.
Right. Bye.
I'll listen to the rest of the podcast whenever possible.
Yeah, fair enough.
Bye.
Bye. But what was it? Oh yeah, so they actually went to Italy, and when you go to Italy, apparently you have to pay a certain amount of tax, saying, okay, well, we know you're going to do some black market dealings, regardless.
Oh wow!
So you have to pay like 20% of your total stuff, and they were saying, no, we are what they call a white market company. We do everything above board, and like, no, you have to pay the tax regardless, and that's what they had difficulty with, saying, oh, we try to be above board, but there is some, the government basically tells everybody, we know that there are going to be some shady dealings, so in order to compensate for that, we bill you some percentage or whatever.
Wow.
At least that was what the story was for that guy.
Yeah. Wow. But still.
Yeah. And also about warehouse protection, he said, well, we had a warehouse, and we said, okay, we have a guard there, and everything's fine. And then basically the mob threatened them and said, well, listen, guy, if you want your guard to live and if you want your warehouse to be safe, you're going to pay up. And then basically there were threats, and there was an assault on the guard, and they basically caved in and said, let's pay up. And then after that, I don't think it was Heineken, it was something else, because the guy worked everywhere. But after that, the warehouse was super safe, but there was no guard to be seen. Everything was unlocked, but there were no break-ins as far as they knew.
Yeah, still got mom protection.
Yeah, but the fact is, I mean, the weirdest things we can imagine for videos or for films or stories, the real life trumps it all.
It's usually more bizarre than it's true in this case too. If people out there, if you guys, again, getting into the international thing, we have viewers all over the place. If you're in Australia, you're in the US, you're in the wherever. Well, you have stuff you collected.
This is how they watch it in Australia, right?
That's right. The maps are upside down there. But at the same time, if you have something that you've collected, you got your stories, you got your pictures of things that you had your birthday there, whatever. I'd be interested in seeing what you have that you collected from McDonald's. Let us know. Or if you, as you're driving through.
Or if you have a birthday with the Mafia, it might be interesting.
That's right. Then it fit in nicely. So if you've enjoyed this podcast and want more, stay tuned for that. But also check out our channel. Join the community on YouTube that goes by the same name, Your Geek Fix.
Be sure to check out Vinz on Twitter at massivedmg_ and on his YouTube channel, massivedmg. Check out James at Mr. Malto4 on Instagram and the Replica Prop Forum. We also want to hear from you, so be sure to send your questions, stories, and other projects to yourgeekfix@gmail.com. In the meantime, this has been Your Geek Fix.